surely, Simon, to solve all this, should clubs not be made publicly report their squad status? Show us what your squad status is in a bid that we get the transparency that we would want, and then Arteta wouldn't come away with anyone's lying about it.
No. Come on. There is an element of that the Premier League have set the rules and the Premier League have to be satisfied. So if we make the accusation that so basically the guys that run the Premier League are complete and utter incompetence, the rules they put in place they can't administer, and they're idiots. Or possibly, maybe Arsenal did qualify for a game to be postponed. It doesn't support the narrative. The argument that's being advanced that maybe they should have kept the players, well, in this time of the world, what you're asking for is the transfer market to be stopped. And you can't sell players because there's a possibility in a week's time you might have a COVID outbreak and you won't have any players available. Well, that grinds the economics of football to a halt in the January transfer window.
Yeah,
your yellow tie would be in the bin again, and there'd be no transfer window.
But he's talking about people lying in order to prevent mistruths being spread here, if you like.
Football's based upon lies at times, so I don't know why he's so outraged by it.
Well, yeah, but let's have a bit of transparency.
Well, transparency is the job.
Let's see your squad status.
There is a point where not every aspect, nuance and peculiarity of football has to go through the scrutiny of the media and the general public. There does have to be an element of the Premier League prima facie have to do their job. If they've set the parameters of what it takes to postpone a game and a club meets those parameters.
But then we'll all know in the media, and as a result of that, the general public will know.
With respect, there's not a God-given right for us to know every single aspect of every single thing that goes on inside a football club.
The fans have a right to know.
No, they have a certain amount of right, and there's a certain amount of confidentiality or a certain amount of protocol that doesn't need to find its way into everybody scrutinising every dot and comma.
No, just to see it. Transparency, not scrutinising. Conte was pointing the finger at Arsenal. Well, let's see what they were up to.
Well, Conte can point his finger at whom he wants. But the fact of the matter is that Conte was saying, look, Conte said, we will be suing the Europa League for UEFA for getting kicked out of the Europa Conference League. That happened, is it? Because it's a load of old cobblers.
I don't think he said sue, did he?
Yeah, they did. He said, well, go after them and we will take whatever action we can take against them. Right? And I think they referenced legal stuff. So with the best one in the world, I don't think he meant suing. I think he meant appealing. Well, okay. Well, the bottom line is that sometimes managers
hyperbole.
Sometimes managers talk off the top of their heads. And when you ask Pep Guardiola about the financial fair play situation at Man City many years ago, he didn't have any answer for it. And sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. In this instance, it is Arteta's job to defend his club, and it's the Premier League job to administer. Or should we do it for it? We'll do it, Jim. The media and the public will run the Premier League for them.
No, let's see what he's defending.
He's defending...
Let's see what you're defending.
Well, we've seen the bloody rules.
We know what they are. No, hang on a second. I'm not wrong in this. Mikel, what's your squad status? What's up with that?
Right. So with the best one in the world, the Premier League is happy with the policies they've laid down.
Yeah, and if they're happy, Arsenal, let's see it. Show the other clubs too.
So then basically declare the availability of your playing squad. Start with that, and then we'll move on to the next thing that we think we should know. Then we'll move on to the next thing that we should know. Then we'll move on to the next thing.
But then you wouldn't have finger pointing. Then you wouldn't have accusations flying around.
By whom? By Tottenham. Oh, what made them? What made them the fulcrum from information? Oh, other clubs. Let's have a look at what they do. It's always those with the most sin that cast the most stones.
Well, look, you've ruled out transparency, so we can forget that.
I haven't ruled it out. I don't think it's a necessity. I think sometimes you just have to accept. Like when you push a Q on a keyboard, we don't know why the binary codes make it push Q on the screen, but it just does. Sometimes you have to accept things.
Right.
You don't. You can't even work the keyboard.
So you've ruled out transparency. You actually have.
I haven't.
The club
it's not necessary.
They shouldn't be made to publicly report their squad status. I think they should. Because then we get transparency and then there will be no finger of accusation being pointed in any direction. But of course, what we can't think...
There'd be interpretation then.
You ruled this out.
There'd be interpretation then. And people say, well, hang on a second. He potentially could qualify as... Hold on a second, who are you to debate what's an experienced 21-year-old player? So then we'll have you and people like you in the media going, well, they've got players here and they could have selected those as under-21s that are experienced enough because the criteria is an experienced under-21-year-old. And then we'll have a debate about what's an experienced under-21-year-old.
So the status quo is fine, is it?
I think in certain instances...
Because you've ruled out rule changes at this time of the season as well.
Well, I think it's very difficult to do rule changes because because then you compromise the integrity of something. Unless those rule changes are equitable and don't compromise what's gone before, i.e. complete different set of standards, then if you do that, then you're going to open the door to people saying, hang on a second, I was affected by the circumstances in mid-season and everyone else got the benefit of a different set. So it's difficult. They might do it.
Just trying to make it fit. Well, a bad news for you, because they are rethinking it, and it comes after Villa chief exec Christian Perslow claimed the rules are no longer fit for purpose.
How many times have we sat in this room and heard that they're going to go and do something, and it comes back with the exact same outcome? Of course they're going to look at it. They're going to look at it and come back and go, no.
But of course, people are screaming right, left and centre about this, that and the next, about postponements of matches. So
who's screaming about it?
A rule change. Of course, it's happening all the time.
Who's screaming about it?
The fans. You see them on that.
And the fact
people were livid with Arsenal the other day.
Of the media
other managers calling out other clubs.
We have a COVID crisis that shut the season down for 3 months, 18 months ago. We finished our season somewhere or another. We will finish this season again, and there might be a backlog of fixtures, but they'll all get played. So what's the big bloody deal?
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.